Beneath the ground of Las Vegas exists a network of tunnels stretching roughly 200 miles. Over time, this space has formed into a separate world home to people often referred to as mole people. Those who have gone too long without exposure to daylight tend to become unpredictable, and encountering them does not always feel safe or welcoming. The entire tunnel system lies at a depth equivalent to 7 stories below the surface. Artificial light becomes one of the rare essentials in this environment. Many people who have lived underground for years develop white hair as if time itself is accelerated by the darkness. Some individuals have never seen sunlight throughout their lives and may never see it at all. Meanwhile, above ground, Las Vegas shines with luxury hotels, massive casinos, and countless forms of entertainment attracting millions of visitors every year. Very few of them are aware of what exists directly beneath this so-called desert paradise. Prolonged darkness has gradually eroded human thought and altered behavior. Stories of violence and death are not uncommon. Some people have been shot in the head while others were killed right where they stood only the night before. There are even individuals who were born and raised entirely within this dark world. Most of them have no identification documents and choose to hide in the tunnels to avoid being tracked by law enforcement. In this environment, equipment such as police radios can barely function. The Las Vegas tunnel system is shown on maps as a complex structure with an estimated 1,500 people living within it. Each tunnel has its own name and functions like an underground neighborhood. Life below unfolds beyond the awareness of the world above ground. The journey continues deeper into the intersecting passageways, where each tunnel connects to countless branches opening into a dark maze that has never been seen before. Descending further into the darkness reveals a space where those living within the tunnel system have formed lives of their own. Narcan and nasal spray are always carried as emergency measures in case someone is found overdosing. When used, the medication is sprayed directly into the nose to help revive the person, but its effects last only about 30 minutes and an ambulance must still be called. The method of use is considered simple and easy to perform. Access to this area cannot be carried out casually. Only with Rob accompanying the entry, a person who survived and lived in the tunnels for 5 years is entry permitted. All access points are blocked with metal bars to limit public intrusion and reduce damage when flooding occurs. Among the harshest experiences ever recorded inside the tunnels, the most serious disaster was a major flood several years ago, which claimed the lives of 2 closest friends. The geological characteristics of Las Vegas, with its extremely hard soil, prevent rainwater from soaking into the ground as it normally would. For this reason, the tunnel system was constructed to channel water underground beneath the city, helping to prevent flooding on the surface. However, when rain occurs, all of the water is channeled directly into these tunnels where many people are living. Even when the weather in the city is clear, rainfall in mountainous areas 45 kilometers away can send floodwaters rushing into the tunnels within minutes. Each time such sudden disasters occur, someone in this vast underground city loses their life by drowning. Inside the tunnels, there is an enormous amount of accumulated waste. Warnings have previously been issued about the dangers of going deeper into this area. The deeper sections of the tunnels are often avoided because of their unpredictability and uncertainty, as no one can know for certain what exists further below. The space inside the tunnels becomes increasingly narrow. The deeper one goes, to the point where many sections require crawling in order to continue. Based on current understanding, the entire system lies at a depth equivalent to 7 stories underground. Hidden within it are rooms embedded deep within the tunnel branches, existing as auxiliary spaces to other areas where anyone can take shelter. In this environment, danger is ever present, ranging from arrest and murder to being burned alive, as human life here holds almost no value. Despite facing countless threats hidden deep underground, there are still people willing to enter and adapt to absolute darkness. The feeling of staying behind is one of dense gloom, a heavy darkness that nearly swallows all perception. Among the worst experiences ever to occur here was an incident involving a direct attack by a group of 3 Cuban men. One of them rushed forward with a machete regarded as the leader, yet the situation was ultimately handled and escaped through personal effort. To survive, crude but decisive measures were used. A basket was carried tipped on its side, fitted with sticks, and turned into a form of improvised mini Molotov device. This self-made tool became the critical factor in preserving life at the most dangerous moment. Entering another person's space within the tunnels always carries risk, as each step can mean crossing into someone's personal territory. During movement, the need for light becomes critical, with flashlights being almost mandatory to check surroundings, including makeshift living areas. There have been cases of a woman believed to be under the influence of drugs turning to Narcan as an emergency form of assistance. For those who truly understand how to navigate moving deep underground without returning to the surface is entirely possible. Once the structure of the system is understood, it is possible to travel through the tunnels, as they are essentially all connected. In the end, they form a network of interwoven passageways, creating a vast maze. While it does not offer the sense of safety of a home entering dangerous areas without prior warning, always carries the risk of severe consequences. Some individuals in this area carry weapons and are ready to use them at any moment. The sound of traffic from above echoes clearly, completely unobstructed. At that moment, it becomes evident that this space lies directly beneath the city center, where vehicles move straight over the heads of those living underground. This is one of the very few moments when sunlight appears, revealing the city above a world they do not belong to and can only observe from below. The scene above feels like an illusion, completely concealing the reality underneath. Just a few steps further, the famous Caesar's Palace Hotel comes into view through a layer of metal grating. Above-ground casinos in Nevada generate more than $15 billion in revenue each year. In complete contrast below lies life inside the city's dangerous slums. Twice a day, the hotel's water filtration system malfunctions, causing this area to remain damp even when there has been no rain for a long period of time. A strong, foul stench fills the space. In some tunnels, wastewater from the city's drainage system flows in, and some people are forced to use that water to bathe. The tunnel network in this area is extremely dense, and without someone who knows the routes well, it is nearly impossible to access. A single wrong turn is enough to become completely lost. On the tunnel wall, a message has been left with words of prayer for the deceased beside it, standing a solitary cross. Signs that people have passed through this area are still visible. Many bicycles are scattered around, as some are homemade and then traded or sold. In this environment, bicycles serve the same role as cars, becoming the only means of transportation. Without a bicycle, movement must be done on foot, an experience that is long exhausting and deeply unsettling within the narrow confines of the tunnels. There are people who have lived here for 2.5 years without ever using a flashlight. Navigation in the darkness is done by placing a hand on the wall and relying entirely on memory. Every corner and every turn is clearly remembered because for them, the tunnel is home. The space outside gives them a similar sense of familiarity. When a voice suddenly echoes through the tunnel, the atmosphere immediately changes, becoming tense, alert, and uneasy. The dark and damp tunnel environment, enough to make one's skin crawl, is nevertheless a place where some people find a sense of safety and choose to live long-term. The appearance of Tony reveals another reality. Although everything may look chaotic on the surface for him, every single item holds life-saving significance. After 6 years connected to the tunnel system, there was once a period when kind people existed here, coming together to form a rare sense of community deep underground. Over time, that atmosphere gradually disappeared. Some people began to think only of their own interests, willing to bully and harm others. There was an incident in which someone deliberately set a fire simply because Tony was seen as dangerous and aggressive. The flames did not injure Tony directly, but they nearly took the life of his only companion, his cat. The small animal was severely burned from the tip of its nose all the way to its tail. 5 days after the incident, the cat miraculously survived an outcome considered nothing short of a miracle. Living conditions in the tunnels are extremely limited, and even basic sanitation must be carried out in makeshift areas, usually with nothing more than a 5-gallon bucket lined with a bag for use. The future ahead remains a question mark. There is a possibility that life will continue in this place, though it is hoped that it will not. No one wants to be bound to the tunnels for an entire lifetime. As age increases, strength gradually declines, and the readiness to change has yet to arrive. After about 10 minutes of being guided underground, Tony decided to return to his own area. A supply of essentials sufficient for 1 week was left with him while the journey continued deeper into the tunnel system. In this place, unexpected situations are always lurking. Anyone can appear, seize belongings, attack, and then disappear without a trace. There are no witnesses and no timely intervention like there is on the surface. Life underground exists as another layer of the world where familiar rules become blurred. The present moment may feel peaceful, but just a few hours later, encountering a dangerous person can quickly turn everything into a nightmare. The deeper one goes, the greater the uncertainty becomes, and no one can predict what lies ahead. In such harsh conditions, some people are forced to improvise aluminum cooking pans and use hand sanitizer as a heat source to maintain daily meals. This area is filled with rats, an unavoidable reality in a dark and damp environment. From ahead, an echoing sound carries through, guiding the way deeper inside. Some people have reflected that they acted impulsively when coming to Las Vegas to visit their mother, then developed feelings for a local person, and ultimately had their lives diverted down into these tunnels. This place gathers people of similar origins, drifting through similar circumstances. The length of time some people live in the tunnels extends to around 5 years, and plans to stay are usually made only for the present, sometimes only for that very day. Life here is rarely planned far into the future. Among the worst aspects of the tunnels, the lack of a drainage system is considered the most serious. When darkness closes in, feelings of discomfort and unease intensify because no one can endure being submerged in darkness for too long. That fear resembles a kind of primitive panic, similar to the reflex of a child. The darkness here is not simply the absence of light, but something like a living entity enveloping people and making them feel erased from the world above. To survive, many people in the tunnels rely on theft or scavenging through trash. Others search for items that can be exchanged for value, such as cables or copper wire. Some choose to collect items left behind by intoxicated tourists. It is not uncommon for tourists to spend thousands of dollars on a shirt at a luxury store, then win only a small amount from a slot machine. In a state of excitement, they leave the expensive item behind to cash out their winnings, only realizing what happened days later after being immersed in alcohol and harsh sunlight for days. For them, losing tens of thousands of dollars each day is considered something already factored in when they come here. The loss of massive amounts of money to machines is viewed as part of the American lifestyle, where luxury, decadence, and excess become the very qualities that attract tourists. This is also the reason Las Vegas has become a resort destination. In the darkness, Beverly appears having lived underground for approximately 8 or 9 years. When rain falls, conditions in the tunnels become especially terrifying. There have been times when people were trapped, and on one occasion, the sense of despair led someone to believe they would never escape. Viewing Las Vegas from this perspective reveals that much of the city is merely a glamorous facade constructed to deceive the eye. Massive casinos are not built on winners, but on those who lose. Living spaces in the tunnels are rarely fixed, as constant movement is almost unavoidable. When asked about the greatest difficulty of life here, all the frustration accumulated over many years is condensed into a single concept: people. Even deep underground belongings are scattered everywhere. Some are swept away by floodwaters, while others are brought in using shopping carts, creating a scene of endless chaos. After about 20 minutes of continued movement through the tunnels, an unusual shadow suddenly stretches across the wall ahead. In that tense moment, the intention to remain peaceful is made clear, affirming that there is no attack or intent to cause harm to anyone. In that darkness, no one can know exactly what lies ahead. Trash is piled everywhere, creating a chaotic and oppressive scene. A man appears, and the initial contact takes place by offering him some basic supplies. After that, he invites everyone into his small tent. The space serves as a place to sleep, a storage area for clothes, and also functions as a makeshift workspace. 6 years ago, he moved to Las Vegas alone. His parents passed away in 2018. For about 2 years, possibly even longer, he has lived underground. Finding water and food is done through various means, from opening nearby fire hydrants to using food assistance cards. In extreme situations, theft is considered a last resort for survival. The only way to remain safe in this environment is to maintain a constant state of high alert, much like in any other dangerous place. On his forehead is a large scar, the mark of being struck hard with a wooden object requiring 11 stitches. The incident occurred inside the tunnel and began with the dispute over a bicycle, an item of high value that is heavily sought after in this area. He once witnessed a person being robbed of their life. The sound of footsteps echoed, followed by 2 gunshots. The victim was shot in the back, and the neck then appeared directly in front of him in a white t-shirt that quickly turned red. The shooter was the victim's own brother. Life in the darkness places immense pressure on the human mind. Not everyone is able to endure it. Some people have not seen sunlight for long periods of time and may never see it again. Many people living here develop white hair early, a rare and frightening phenomenon. At night, there is often the sensation that someone is moving outside the tent, but when stepping out to check, there is nothing there. In this environment, no one can predict who they might encounter. Most people living underground have lost their identification documents and never recovered them. Without identification, they cannot apply for jobs, rent housing, or access social services, because within the system, they almost do not exist. This is a major barrier, but it is not the only problem. Even if documents were restored, many would still remain here if other issues are not resolved. Psychological trauma, mental health disorders, and many other complex factors simultaneously push them into a cycle with no escape. There was a period of homelessness that lasted from 2 to 3 years. On one occasion, while walking down the street late at night, the sight of 3 familiar people sword fighting appeared before his eyes. The sound of metal clashing, blood being spilled, and a sense of emotional numbness followed. Images like these gradually became familiar, leaving psychological damage, while also desensitizing people to violence. Phil once lived in a house with a swimming pool. After retiring, life gradually spiraled downward and pulled him into the tunnel system. In this place, equipment such as police radios barely function, which unintentionally attracts more people to come here. Some individuals have lived underground for 8 to 10 years. Among the most terrifying experiences, flooding is considered the greatest threat. In just about 10 minutes, the water level can rise to nearly 2.4 meters. There is no warning system other than the sound of rushing water, and by the time it is recognized, it is often already too late. In the past, warning signs once appeared in this area stating that floodwaters never fail, and reality has repeatedly proven this to be true. Many lives have been taken. One of the greatest losses for people living in the tunnels is losing everything they have accumulated over many years in a single moment. Just a few weeks after these accounts were recorded, news confirmed that Phil had passed away. As the journey continues deeper into the tunnels, layers of mineral deposits clinging to the ceiling begin to appear. These accumulated streaks indicate that water is continuously seeping down rich in calcium. These signs reflect the reality that rainwater has flowed into the tunnel system many times. No one can know exactly how many homes have been destroyed or how many lives have been swept away by previous floods. The journey goes on. A memorial area appears deep underground, built to remember someone who has passed away. There is a heart shape and roses placed there with quiet respect. When floods suddenly strike, people living in the tunnels have only about 20 minutes to escape, or they risk being trapped by rushing water or debris carried ahead of the flow. The tunnels are covered with pools of water, and constant wind makes the cold, damp air cling tightly to the skin. The ground beneath is a mixture of wastewater trash and human waste, all gradually soaking into shoes. Garbage appears everywhere, mixed with dead animals, including rats. Water has completely soaked the feet, but this has become something familiar. Life is forced to go on. Movement through the tunnels continues in the search for one of Rob's old friends, who has lived here for more than 10 years. The gray walls covered in moss and mold gradually begin to show unusual patches of color. Suddenly, the space opens up like an art workshop deep underground. A gallery has been built entirely by hand. However, just one heavy rain could wash the entire structure away without a trace. Jay's living area is constructed from recycled materials. Baby strollers, handbags, toys, and many other miscellaneous items appear everywhere, yet everything is arranged with an almost unbelievable sense of order. Jay has lived in these frequently flooded tunnels for nearly 8 or 9 years. When he first arrived, all of his personal belongings were lost, including his identification documents. Everything began with just $27 in his pocket. There is no place that is truly safe. The risk of robbery comes from other homeless individuals and even from law enforcement. For Jay, this is the space where each day begins and where each day also ends. When they are discovered in this area, the consequence can be detention for trespassing. The tunnel area is under state control and is designated as a flood zone. Arrests can occur for many different reasons, even simply for standing on an avenue. These people are seen as unwelcome, barred from most public spaces, and nearly excluded from society. Most of the public tends to view them as individuals who pose a potential criminal threat, but Jay is exhausted by that prejudice. Over time, he had been forced to build his own methods of survival. Inside the tunnels, there is almost no access to food or clean water. The water behind them is mostly wastewater. Food mainly comes from what others have thrown away, and most of the belongings present around them are collected from trash bins. Personal hygiene is carried out in an extremely minimal way, often using nothing more than a 5-gallon bucket. Jay's eyes were once severely damaged after being hit by a bullet from a .45 caliber gun, leaving him unable to clearly remember what happened. Among the most terrifying experiences here, he believes the paranormal phenomena are the most disturbing. There is a feeling that something is always following him, capable of moving objects, making them disappear, and even shifting the bed while he is lying on it. The entity can also imitate human voices, calling out names from deep within the tunnels. According to his description, the figure resembles a very thin man about 6.5 feet tall with a pointed nose, no arms or legs, and an unnaturally smooth way of moving. In complete darkness, the shape still appears clearly, even darker than black itself, carrying a chilling sensation as if it lowers the surrounding temperature. Thoughts about the future almost do not exist. The image of 10 years ahead is vague, sometimes imagined as death. The harsh reality is that anyone is only 2 paychecks away from homelessness. Each tunnel has its own identity, shaped by the people living inside it. Syringes appear everywhere, creating a filthy and frightening environment. Life here is not considered a true life. Connections with family still exist, but only at a minimal level. Relatives do not ask many questions about the current situation. Before falling into this circumstance, Jay was once a family man with 2 sons and 1 daughter, all of whom still live in the city. His son turned 17 not long ago. Their most recent meeting took place 10 years ago. Right at the very spot where they were standing, someone had died from an overdose just the night before. Death came quickly and quietly, underscoring the fragility of human life. Reality shows that nearly 7 out of 10 Americans live entirely dependent on monthly wages, struggling to maintain their lives. For many people, just one unexpected event is enough to cause their entire financial stability to collapse. From deep within the tunnels, the lights of Caesar's palace can still be seen in the distance, creating a stark contrast between the luxurious world above and the dark reality below. If this story makes you pause and reflect, begin by not turning away. Do not see them merely as shadows beneath the ground, but as people who once had families, pasts, and dreams like anyone else. Share the video, spread awareness, and support organizations that assist the homeless and mental health. Even a small action can create an opportunity for someone to see the light again, not through a crack in the tunnel, but through a society that cares and does not abandon forgotten lives.